Motorsports Club was born, not in a boardroom, but in the hearts of those who lived for the blur of the horizon. In 1956, the roar shifted from the coastline to the concrete of Temeri. On a former World War II airstrip, a legacy was carved into the earth. They called it South Dakota, named after the very planes that once touched down there. It wasn't just a track. It was a proving ground where legends would eventually etch their names into Caribbean history. Progress demands more than memories. To lead, you must evolve. And over 7 decades, South Dakota has transformed from a rugged airstrip to a theater of speed, thrills, and spills. The transformation has been radical. 70% of the front stretch reimagined. Advanced safety fencing, international grade curbs, and a world-class pit lane that mirrors the greatest circuits on the planet. We aren't just paving a track, we're building a gateway for the world to enter the 592. The 70th year isn't a finish line, it's a launch pad. Under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Irfan Ali to position Guyana as a premier global sports tourism destination, and in proud partnership with the government of Guyana, we are taking motorsport into the future with Guyana's first ever FIA event, GT Las Americas. On 11th and 12th July 2026, the silence of the savannah will be shattered by the most sophisticated lineup of world-class machinery to ever touch Guyanese soil. Lamborghini, Porsche, McLaren, Mercedes-Benz, the titans of the industry battling under our tropical sun. From the sands of 55 to the global stage of 26. 70 years of grit. 70 years of glory. This is motorsport. This is Guyana Grand Prix.
Against some of the South American riders, and the idea is to create a championship on 2 wheels which will be able to join the GT Challenge de las Americas as a sort of support show, if you like. CELAC, if you don't understand the term, means the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, and we're delighted that there are half a dozen Panamanian riders here at South Dakota this weekend, and some of them are up the pointy end of the grid. I'll explain more about that championship and how it works when we come to their first race of the weekend, which is the 3rd race on our program. But a little bit more detail and a bit more background about the GT Challenge de las Americas first. Panama back in March, a 2nd round in June, which was the Panama 500, and then here in Guyana, the first ever visit to the Caribbean, followed by, at the end of August, Bushy Park in Barbados, and then at the beginning of October, the championship moves to another new venue, the Autodromo Internacional de Yucatan in Mexico. So 3 rounds in a row are at new venues, and therefore are presenting the regulars in this championship, now in its 6th season, with some interesting new challenges. The final round is back onto familiar ground for all these competitors, the Autodromo Park Viva in Costa Rica, and that will bring their 6th season to an end. The championship already is very close. Championship points I'll deal with when we get closer to the race as well. The championship was founded by Eduardo Aguilar, who remains the Director General of the series, and his mission was to bring together the best race cars, drivers and teams from across the region, inspired of course by the GT3 championships in Europe and America, and similar to them, it is run to FIA rules. Here at the Guyana Grand Prix, a little bit of background perhaps for those of you who are unfamiliar with the history of South Dakota, which in fact is celebrating its 70th year this year, although having said that, it's not been a continuous history because motorsport did die out for a while here in the 1970s and didn't restart again until the late 1980s. But the first bike races here, because that's how motorsport started in Guyana, was on two wheels, not on four, and it started on the number 63 beach on the sand back in 1955. Then they moved here to the what was a former World War II base known as Atkinson Field, and that was when it all started. Funnily enough, I discovered by doing a bit of research that Atkinson Field was built in an area of Guyana known as Hyde Park, which is really very strange because that's the major park in the centre of London. But I suppose way back, of course, this was a British territory. As I say, motorsport died out in the 70s. Then the Caribbean Motor Racing Championship sort of took over as the major feature of motorsport, not only here in Guyana, but around the region, in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Jamaica. Sadly, that died out in the late 2010s. In 2018, I think, was the last year. Having said that, I suspect that the pandemic, which came upon us in 2019, would have probably done a serious amount of damage to that championship anyway. Then the circuit was extended here in 2022, initially with this additional stretch to the left of our control tower. But what has happened in the last 3 months is nothing short of a minor miracle. The creation of a row of pit boxes capable of accommodating a huge number of cars, an FIA spec pit wall with little gaps in for pit crew to lean out and indicate to their teams if they so wish. And it's a really remarkable sight. A lot of local sponsors have been involved in helping to make all of this happen. I'd like to run through a few of those now. Ryan Perrier, Sterling Products, Palm Court, Banks DIH, AJM, J-Parts, Reliance Inc., BK, Soars Investments, Massey, Enet, Guy America Construction, Ashoka, Shafiq, BM Soat, Geico, Drydock, XL Engineering, C&L Construction, Suresh Jagmohan, Barden Construction, Maycorp, Builders Lumber Yards, John Fernandes, Ansa McCall, Romcol, DDL, Amil Construction, Paul Singh, S&D Construction, Fullworks Blue Springs, Secure Innovations and Concept Inc., Prestige Imports, Beacon GK Inc., Petron Corp, Star Party Rental, EL Vera, Mohans, Nabi Construction, Total Solutions, London House, GT Automotive, Torch and Old Paints, Linsala, New GPC and KFC, a major supporter here this weekend. But beyond all of that, as I said earlier, there has been a terrific investment in this improved facility from the Guyanese government, with particular attention being paid by His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali. The launch of this event was at the State House, and from the online videos I've seen, it is clear that your president has a great affection for classic cars, and I was delighted to see an awful lot of them were British that were parked on the lawns outside the State House that night. And a number of the ministers who have been heavily involved, because as on Charles Ransom Jr., your Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, said just a week or so ago, this is not just a motor racing event, but part of the development of brand Guyana. And Destination Guyana is now a very important goal and vision of this government. Sports tourism can play a very important part in that. I've already talked to a lot of competitors here who have never been to Guyana before and are finding it very attractive. They're looking forward to continuing their Caribbean tour after having gone back home to Costa Rica, Guatemala, or wherever, and then returning to the Caribbean to Barbados. So the whole sports tourism thing, as I know from my own personal involvement in Rally Barbados for the last 25 years, is something that can be made to work. And it's not just things with wheels, it's cricket, it's badminton, it's hockey, it's football. All of those sports can bring people to your country if you have the facilities that are attractive enough for them to want to come and compete. So Charles Ransom Jr., the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, deserves a huge thanks for his support, along with the Honourable Stephen Jakes as the Minister within that ministry. The Honourable Bishop Juan Edgell, who I've seen on social media really rather a lot in recent weeks, checking out how not so much the work inside the circuit has been going, but the enormous work that's gone outside the circuit as well in terms of improving the approach roads, so that the many thousands of people who are already here and will, I'm sure, still be moving towards South Dakota now can do so perhaps a little bit more smoothly than was the case in the past. I do speak from a certain amount of experience, because the last time I stood, not on this tower because this is a new control tower, but the last time I stood basically at this sort of map reference was 25 years ago, when South Dakota looked very different indeed. And the Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation, the Ontiadat Indar, also deserves a mention as well, because here we are sat right next to the Chedigagan Airport, which is very handy, of course, for incoming visitors now, of course, with increasing development here and the presence now of hotels, well, one already open, of course, the Marriott, but others growing up in the confines of the airport to improve access to visitors to Guyana who are not staying here for terribly long, but also very handy for South Dakota itself. One thing that's been happening this week is that the track record at South Dakota has not exactly been falling, it's been tumbling, cascading, whatever the next adjectives after falling are. We started off with the track record, and that's not a specific category lap record, that is the fastest ever lap recorded on this circuit. It was set back in 2024, so what, 18 months ago or so, by the British motorcycle rider Dan Linfoot, who's here again this weekend. He's a regular here now. He set a time of 1:15.534. Now, a fellow Brit of his held the GT3 lap record, which was 1:16.028. So you could get round South Dakota on a bike quicker than you could in a GT3 car. That was Will Redford. That was last November in the Porsche Cup. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, because I'm just going to start now talking about who is coming out here, as Mark Vieira leads the GT3 cars out in the ex-Zachary Boudram Lamborghini GT3. This is a final session to warm up these cars ahead of their 2 half-hour races later in the day. Car just leaving the pit lane now is the McLaren 720 GT3X, which is now the current holder of the lap record here at South Dakota, and the car which will start from pole position for the first of the 2 races. The second grid is based on the results of the first 5 different categories in the GT Challenge de las Americas. GTS, which is the FIA homologated GT3 cars. GTS Turbo, cars built on GT3 Turbo platforms that are not homologated. GTS Junior, cars up to 400 horsepower with no modifications. GTS Light, that's a category focused on the Cup cars. such as the Lamborghini Super Trofeo and the Porsche Cup cars. And hopefully, once second-hand cars start coming down from the McLaren Trofeo Cup, then they will be joining this as well. And Super V8 cars, which bring the 5 categories to an end. The Super V8 cars make some absolutely magic noises. So 21 cars took to qualifying yesterday. Qualifying for these events split. First of all, the two categories, the categories are split up, and then the top 10 fastest have a final shootout. Ramiz Mohammed just passing it in his GTM Expo out of the GTS Turbo class. One or two late arrivals in the entry list that you might, if you've seen an entry list earlier in the week, you won't have seen the name of young Jamaican Tommy Gore on it. He's son of Doug Gore, who of course raced here at South Dakota in the CMRC in the past, but young Tommy was called up to drive the new Lamborghini, which arrived in the country only a few days ago, and that is it in Jumbo Jet colours, which has just passed the start-finish line now, heading down into turn 1. That's the Mercedes, the red Mercedes, number 42 of Will Redford, who won all 3 GT3 races here last year in his Porsche. The blue and white Porsche 911 is car 123, which is another of the young British drivers, 5 of them competing in the GT Challenge, the last American race. He will be starting 15th on the grid tomorrow. Calvin Ming, if you look onto the back straight, just turning onto the back straight now, Calvin Ming will be competing in both the GT Challenge race and also the Group 4 races in the Porsche 911 that Mark Vieira has kindly vacated the driving seat, and he couldn't have driven 2 cars in the GT Challenge race anyway, thinking about it. Vieira heads out of the pit lane once again. He'll be starting 9th on the grid after the top 10 shootout. Next up, that was Tommy Gore, past us, the young Jamaican once again. Calvin Ming just heading into his pit box as the Will Redford Mercedes AMG GT heads down into turn 1, and we have a stationary Audi of Solivetesh or Luis Ramirez, not sure which one it is, in the centre of the circuit, and I suspect, as he would appear to be on the grass, he might well be beached. We found that with cars that went off yesterday. If they trickled over the curbs, they were likely to grind to an unseemly halt. Seemingly race control not overly worried about where the Audi is positioned. Dean Paquette in the black and gold 911 just about to make his way out of pit lane. Looks like a quick check of the belts or something going on there. No, he's being pulled over and held by one of the GT Challenge officials. So not everyone out there as yet. Mark Vieira taking it very steadily when he saw the beached Audi over there at the hairpin on the infield. Out of the pits comes the McLaren once again, pole position car for the first race of the day, driven by Juan Diego Hernandez, and sharing that car with Tatiana Calderon, and Tatiana is one of the most successful female racing drivers of recent years. The first Colombian to drive a Formula One car, had a 2-year, possibly 3-year contract as the Alfa Romeo team's test driver, has raced pretty much all around the world, most recently in Indy cars in the States. Just to go back to what's been happening with the track record here, because it is currently held by the McLaren, one of only 15 of those cars built and the only one that is racing anywhere in the world. Juan Diego Hernandez set the pole position time yesterday, but to tell the story from when free practice and unofficial testing started back on Thursday, Zachary Boudram was the first driver in his Team Speedway Lamborghini to bring the time down to 1:13.103. Then Mark Vieira briefly held the lap record on Friday morning at 1:12.007. Then the fastest lap went back to Zachary Boudram, 1:11.847. Then in the final free practice session on Friday, which was really the only one all day that we got really decent weather throughout, it went again down to 1:11.664, which was Hernando in the McLaren 720 GT3X. But then in qualifying yesterday in the shootout, then we've got a new fastest lap around Dakota of 1:10.397. So not everyone choosing to come out for this final warm-up session. Mark Vieira pounding out the miles, however, in his Zachary Boudram Mitsubishi. He was originally intending to compete in the Group 4 races as well, but has elected, I think it must be his age, I don't think Mark could drive 4 races in a day anymore. Our helicopter is leaving, that's quite good. Fortunately, it hasn't been dry for the last few days. So we're just rescuing the stranded Audi, which is going to be picked up by one of our mobile teams and brought back into the pit. So there will be a continuation of this session. Cars already lining up at the end of the pit lane ready to participate, including the Hyundai Veloster, which we hadn't seen up to this point, number 24, which is sat ready to participate. Well, the session resumes with the first car moving out of the pit lane being Dean Paquette, Maurizio Rock in the number 13 Porsche 911, the black and gold car, followed by Sebastian Guerra and Alejandro Herta in the Hyundai Veloster. Then the two Guy America liveried Porsches, driven by the two young Brits. In 1400 is Will Martin, in 1500 is Harry Foster, both of them having been Carrera Cup winners in the UK. Harry Foster's dad, Nick, used to compete in the British Touring Car Championship back in the day as well. So although they're only in their 20s, they have some good experience, karting backgrounds as well. So Paquette is the first car leading the field through. Oops, the Veloster very nearly loses it, gets very tail happy coming through the left-hander heading towards the back straight. The Guy America Porsches are travelling in convoy, traced by Calvin Ming in the car, one Guyana car. And here's Paquette across the line, currently lying second in the GTS Lights class in that car. Dean Paquette's a Canadian Maurizio Rock is from Guatemala. The class actually being led, the GTS Lights class being led after winning all 4 of the earlier races this year by Ricardo Vera from Puerto Rico, but he doesn't look to me as though he's going to be coming out in this morning warm-up unless he's going to teach the Lambo how to jump over a row of tyres down there in the Team Speedway car. The multicoloured KTM Expo, the J Supermarket car, that's Danny Harrison, another of the young Brits who has flown down to compete here in Guyana. And while they initially were commissioned, if you like, to come down and drive in the GT Challenge de las Americas race, they've pretty much all decided to do the Group 4 race as well. So that's going to make for some additional excitement in the combined Group 3 and 4 races later in the day. Danny Harrison lost his time from the final qualifying session yesterday because of a weight infringement, and so he starts right at the back of the grid in that multicolored KTM Expo, and I think it's certainly going to be one of the cars that we're looking out for, making some energetic overtaking manoeuvres, particularly early in the race when the field is all still bunched up. I was going to say, yes, it is the Hyundai Veloster has swapped ends again and is sat in the middle of the road, just approaching the inner hairpin, facing the wrong way. Doubtless he's trying to persuade his engine to fire up, if it has in fact died. It looks as though it might well have done. The Expo's just gone past him. So Dean Paquette is making his way down towards turn 1. It's got going. Yeah. Well, it got going briefly. Then I think he saw the Expo coming and thought, well, perhaps he'd just back off for a minute. Oh, yes, he's trying to do a 3-point turn. He's obviously up for a refresher driving test at some point in the future. Right, so the 3 Porsches, the 2 Guy America cars and the Calvin Min car go past as the... Oh, no, don't reverse and get stuck on the grass. No, he hasn't done. Good. And so the Hyundai Veloster is underway. My gut feeling is that a visit to pit lane might just be a real useful thing to do now, because that car is clearly not quite behaving itself in the way that the driving team would hope. And they need to find themselves behaving here because they are currently leading the GTS Junior class in the GT Challenge. Sebastian Guerra and Alejandro Herta, both of them from Panama, members of the Chocron racing team. John Chocron is here also as well with his fantastic Chevrolet Corvette. So the 3 Porsches all come piling in, 4 Porsches all come piling into the pit lane. So, green flag once again for a further continuation of this session, if there is anyone else who is likely to come out. As I say, quite a few of the cars haven't come. One thing I should say while I remember is that very sadly we're not going to see Franklin Boudram in action in his fabulous Renault RS01. Part of the wiring loom has sort of eaten itself. Some sort of earth somewhere isn't earthing like what it ought to. And so sadly, although it's got a new engine and a new gearbox, well, pretty much new everything in it, brackets apart clearly from the wiring loom, we're not going to be seeing the Renault, which is such a pity, because I've been over here in the control tower looking at it for the last 2 days, and it really is one of my favourite race cars, and we're not going to see it. Calvin Ming out again in his Porsche. Oh, here comes the Veloster. Right, let's see what they have got lined up for a display on this outing. It is intended to be a 15-minute session. Green flag still being waved to those teams right down the far end of the pit boxes. There is Danny Harrison, once again champion in the UK back in 2020, and there's a Brit car, it's called the Brit Car Endurance Championship in the UK, and he's been a winner in that. Will Martin, that is in the first of the Guy America cars. Are they both coming out now? I think the other one's gone back into the pit box. So just Will Martin in number 1400, been a winner in the Carrera Cup during the last 5 years, also competed in Porsche Carrera Cup in the United States as well. Good, the Veloster completes a lap without any unusualness, so hopefully this is going to continue for the rest of this session. So the GT Challenge races, they'll be half an hour each. It's 30 minutes plus 1 lap, so they're 32, 33 minutes. The fact that some of the cars are shared does not mean that they come into the pits for a driver change during that half hour. One driver does one race, the other driver does the other, and as the teams are very suspicious of one another and like to try and keep their cards close to their chest, we might not be finding out who's driving in a particular race until literally just as the grid is forming up, and then the results of the first race will form the grid for the second. And having annotated my grid, they've now swapped pole position from the left-hand side of the track to the right-hand side of the track, but that is what it is. A rolling start for the GT Challenge race as well later on. Standing start for Group 2 and the bike races. And a rolling start also for the Group 3 and 4 race, which will have the Group 4 cars out the front of the grid and the Group 3 cars at the rear. So still a handful of cars on the circuit, but the red flag at the end of the pit lane indicating that this session has come to an end. What we'll be doing during the day is there's going to be some runners bringing up some printed results for us so that we can keep you up to date. We have been having difficulty getting a live feed of results. It may well be that I have to use Alex's phone again. Alex, if you're listening.
He sent it to you, just not getting it right now. I'm not even getting to send anything. I'm using data.
So we'll move on with our racing programme shortly. The first race of the day, the first of the 8 being for the local championship, the Guyana Racing Club Championship Group 2, starts here today because the redevelopment work on the circuit means that there have been no full circuit race meetings thus far this year. So I'm not sure how many are planned between now and the end of the year, possibly another couple I would hope. There'll only be 2 races today. When there's a regular national championship race meeting, there tend to be 3 races unless there are delays and horrible things like that, in which case people lose the chance of getting their race in before the end of the day. But 2 of them today. There was a very healthy looking entry list which in the end has come down to just 10 cars for the Group 2 race, but I don't get too worried about that because still I reckon it's going to be fairly a good close race because there's of particular note is the arrival of one of the British drivers. They're not only in the GT's challenge race, and as I said, the Porsche drivers in Group 4, but a guy called Paul Rivette who has 4 times won the Renault Clio UK Cup, which is a very, very hard, competitive one-make championship back in the day when it first started. If you were a marshal on a marshal's post at a race circuit in the UK, like perhaps Donington Park, by the end of a Clio Cup race, if there had been 30 cars that started, there would have been sufficient numbers of minor accidents for you to have picked up all of the necessary parts to build half a car, because panels used to come flying off on a regular basis. And Paul Rivette is the man who achieved 4 championship wins in that, actually 5 I suppose really, because he won there was a sort of winter series thingy as well, which was equally competitive, and he's here this weekend. He's been working through Bourne MPP and actually is currently the de facto team manager for the Bourne guys from the UK who are running the jumbo jet cars, which are positioned right at the far end of the pit lane. So cars will start to assemble in the near future for the Group 2 race. Already can see the club president, Mohammed Shiraz Roshandin, in his Honda Civic at the far end of the grid. So a reminder to all of the Group 2 competitors, please, it is time to boot up, zip up your jackets and get your helmets on, because it is time for the first race of the day, the opening round of the GMR and SC Group 2 Championship. So do please assemble at the end of the pit lane for a formation lap and make your way. So Group 2, it is time for Group 2 to make your way. A host of Honda Civics and one or two oddities, and I don't mean that unkindly. So out of the 10, we've got 7 Civics, a Toyota Levin, a Ford Fiesta, and a Toyota MR2. And I must give honourable mention to CAMS. If you don't know what CAMS is, it's the Caribbean American Motorsport organisation, of which Afraz Ali is the president. CAMS is the guys who live in North America. I can remember when I first came here, there were CAMS competitors who would come down from the States in order to support the regular local race meets here. So they tend not to do well in championship terms because they're not always here. But if the CAMS guys weren't here today, we'd have a really very small Group 2 grid indeed. So well done, Team CAMS, for your superb turnout today. Let's hope that produces some results as well as just simply your presence. So there will be a formation lap and they will line up on the newly painted grid. The grid start has moved further in this direction, partly to accommodate the GT cars, because they are going to stretch well down towards the final turn. And so the grid start line moved up, and so the timing beam has had to be, timing loop has been re-sunk in a slightly different place. This whole start line, if you've been following your social media, and if you haven't even been following it, it's impossible not to have tripped over the enormous amount of coverage of the work that's been going on up here, both in the GMR&C's own social media platforms and pretty much everybody else in the media as well. So, thank you very much indeed. So, just a quick, I've got warm-up times from the GT Challenges, the Americas, and of course there weren't that many of them who went out. It sort of split into 2 sessions. Quickest of the cars that was out there was Will Martin, 1:13.067, just ahead of his Guy America teammate Harry Foster, 1:13.131. So there's only 600ths between those two, with Calvin Ming another 9/10 or so behind. But they will look at that a little bit later on as the Group 2 cars make their way out onto the grid. And so who's driving your car then? So we've got... Yeah, I know that. So as the Group 2 cars make their way round onto the grid, Peter Morgan, the last one to emerge from the... not the last one to emerge from the pit lane, actually, because there is... another of the CAM's cars, which is Kemal Rahman, has just appeared as well, so not on the grid sheet, but on the original entry list. So let's just wait as they now come round to form up in their grid positions. Damien Singh, the last, I think now the last one to come out of the pit lane. So they come down to line up on the grid. The grid marshal's there to make sure that they are in the right position. So let me just go down. Can I just squeeze past and go down so I can see the grid better? Thank you very much. And so cars assembling, going down on to pole position is Shanshi Jatan, who's been the Group 2 champion for the last 3 years. A total of 33 wins here at South Dakota in that period of time, and he will, I am sure, be hoping to continue that success in this event today. I've always thought it would be a really good idea if grids are printed upside down on the sheet of paper, because then the grid marshal would find it easier because he'd be looking at it in the right way rather than the wrong way. Anyway, so on pole position is Shanshi Jatan in his white Honda Civic, also the lap record holder for the group round South Dakota. Alongside him, the British driver Paul Rivette in the Team AJM Honda Civic. Alongside him in the yellow and green Civic, the GMRS&C President Mohammed Shiraz Roshandin, so as well as supervising all of the works here at the rebuilding of South Dakota. He's also had a race car that needed to be looked after as well. Neil Passod, another of the CAMS drivers in his Civic. That's the blue one, which is sitting on the fourth slot on the grid. Fifth will be when he gets down there, and here he comes, Damien Singh in the yellow Civic number 133, if he can work his way through the car park of Civics. He needs to wiggle around a bit to get himself into his right grid position of fifth. On the sixth slot already there on the grid, 211, is Adrian Fernandez in his Toyota 11. Nice to see a little bit of variety in this otherwise very heavily Honda Civic sort of race. So Damien Singh has now got himself into grid slot number 5. Peter Morgan comes over in the another nice car to see a different car again, the Ford Fiesta. You don't often see those racing in the Caribbean. I suppose there weren't that many of them sold over here really back in the day. And that's Peter Morgan, who was runner-up in the Group 2 Championship a couple of years ago, the only man to score in every round of the championship as well when he had a really consistent year, but we haven't seen that. He hasn't been seen that often since. In the white, largely white anyway, Civic alongside him in slot number 8, another of the CAMS drivers, that's 158 Christopher Lull. Alongside him is another unusual car out of the Civics, and the last one that isn't one is Joe Mahan in the Toyota MR2. He's on grid slot number 9. Sunil Nath, another of the CAMS drivers, is in his Civic 215, and then right at the back we've got Kemal Rahman in the number 64, and 007 is Aaron Bethune. Looking a bit smoky under the bonnet of Shanshi Jatan's car, but let's hope that does not bode ill. And so, oh dear, it's getting very smoky down Shanxi Jatan's car. I think he wants to get going as quickly as he possibly can. And away they go with Shanxi Jatan. A very good start. Cracking start from Shiraz Roshandin. Those they go down into turn one. It is Shiraz Roshandin who has the advantage as they turn in. Paul Rivette, the British driver, is up there in second place. Neil Passot for Cams is in third place. Diving up the inside, Damien Singh. Does he get past Adrian, the Shanxi Jatan car? Yes, he does. So already Shanxi Jatan down in fifth place, although having said that, he's trying to challenge back and get the fourth place back from the yellow Civic, but it doesn't work at the moment. Still quite closely bunched as they go through the first through turns on this first of these races are 6 laps, and so they come sweeping down through the elevation changes, now down over the hill, if you like, and onto the back straight. Paul Rivette being challenged for second place by Neil Passot. As they disappear from view, they come back into over there as they come through the gooseneck and come down towards the final turn. And it is still Shiraz Roshandin who has the advantage, but Paul Rivette really likes driving around this circuit, and he's going to be doing the Group 3 race as well, and I think he's going to be biding his time as he gets to the end of the first lap. So it is so Shiraz Roshandin has the advantage at the end of lap 1 from Paul Rivette. And it's so closely bunched up now, it's almost as though Neil Passot is pushing Paul Rivette into the car in front of him as they go through the inner hairpin. Those three just beginning to pull away a little bit from the group behind them. It's the first car, sort of Damien Singh in his yellow Civic is sort of a little bit lost in the middle at the moment, but ground being made up by Shanxi Jatan, who is down in fifth at fifth place at the moment. Just briefly out of view now. Paul Rivette is now really getting onto terms with race leader Shiraz Roshandin. There's less than a length between them as they go through the gooseneck, and there's equally less than a length between Paul Rivette's back bumper and Neil Passot behind him. That remains the order as they come across the line at the end of lap 2. Down into turn 1. Can there be a change? Literally, they are glued together. Couldn't throw a blanket across the three. Paul Rivette, the British sandwich between the two Guyanese drivers, looks at the inside at the hairpin. There's not quite enough room to get a red Civic inside a green and yellow one. That cost him a little bit of time because he did need to brake and back out of that manoeuvre just a little bit there. So it is still Roshandin on the second lap who has the advantage at the moment, but Rivette is not letting go. He's got alongside and he's got through into the lead on lap 3. So the British driver who's been racing trucks incidentally a couple of seasons ago and won his class in the British Truck Racing Championship, and Roshandin now coming under some serious pressure from Neil Passot as well. So are we going to see Paul Rivette ease away now in the second half of this race? We're coming up to half distance, and just as they get down to the gooseneck, I see pole position man and triple champion Shanxi Jatan moving up into fourth place. Now can he catch these three in the remaining part of the race? So it is now the British driver Neil Rivette who is up into first place. Shanxi Jatan has now got himself up into fourth, and losing ground Also there is Damien Singh in the number 1 3C, because he's also now been passed by the Levin of Adrian Fernand. So half distance completed. We are on the 4th out of the 6 laps. And Paul Rivette beginning to pull away somewhat. Great battle going on in the midfield, partly because everyone is now sort of catching up with Damien Singh, who's been dropping back, and he's coming under pressure as they go down into the right-hander on the far side. It's Peter Morgan now in the Ford Fiesta who's putting him under pressure and dragging Christopher Lyle's Civic along behind him. So the leaders are at the gooseneck, about to come back through the final turn for the 4th time, and now with a more significant advantage of a couple of seconds. Paul Rivette now has in the lead of this race. Shanshi Jatan looking as though he's in trouble, because I thought it looked as though he might have a front left puncture, and he's just lost 1 place. Not sure what has occurred there, but a good battle now for second is developing. As Shiraz Roshandin now was under, probably just eased away. I think he's just realised he needed to get the pedal to the metal a bit more enthusiastically, because he's still got Neil Persaud right behind him. Adrian Fernand has continued, or has he? Not sure that he... Yes, he has, so perhaps it wasn't a puncture after all. So we look back towards the gooseneck and see what's happening with Roshandin and Persaud. Well, Roshandin quicker through there than the chasing Persaud is, and has eased out quite a bit of an advantage as they come down to the start of the final lap. Still in the order now of Paul Rivette, but down to turn 1, and now Neil Persaud dropping back quite significantly, and I think it's possible that he might lose, though he's not going to, I don't think. So Paul Rivette, though, in the Team AJM Civic, is well on his way to making the score for the day so far. England 1 and everyone else in the world 0. Better than, not quite as good as 2-1 last night. I suppose the last two. Down into the pits has gone the RM Bethune orange Civic, so clearly that didn't feel that it was going to be able to make its way to the end of the race. Paul Rivette emerges from the final turn, and to take the checkered flag as our first of 8 race winners today, with Shiraz Roshandin coming home in second place. Third is Neil Persaud. Fourth, 19, and fifth was the club chairman. It was Shanshi Jatan. So not a terribly good start to his campaign for defending his Group 2 title for Shanshi Jatan, although I guess that the club will not award Group 2 points to a visiting driver, so that might help his cause just a little bit. I know that the various overseas drivers in the GT Challenge will be awarded points, but I suspect that that will not be the case in the local races. So I'll just take a breath for a moment or two and prepare for our next. So our next event will be the second of our saloon car races, a combined event for groups 3 and 4. So time for all of our group 3 and 4 competitors to be preparing themselves, heading towards the end of the pit lane to set out on that formation lap. So groups 3 and group 4, and there's a goodly number of you, and so the Guy America team guys need to prepare themselves, even though acting team manager Paul Rivette hasn't got back yet, to make sure that you're doing what you're meant to be doing. So race will be at 12 o'clock, so just 12 minutes or so for groups 3 and 4. So the Guyana Grand Prix weekend is properly underway with our first race of the 8 of the day yet to come. Groups 3 and 4, as I just said, that'll be starting at 12, and then we have 2 bike races and one more group 3 and 4, one more group 2, and then of course the GT Challenge race is coming up as well. At the end of the day, the penultimate, anti-penultimate and last race of the day, because the second bike race will be sandwiched in between the 2 GT Challenge races. With a moment of silence, just another opportunity perhaps to give a mention to some of the many people who help make this sort of event happen successfully. We've already talked about the sponsors, which I will do again in a moment or two, but of course there are many others here, such as our volunteer marshals, without whom motorsport around the world could not happen. And it's not just here on race weekend. They've been preparing themselves earlier. We've got some honoured guests in the country, including the FIA Vice President for North America, Daniel Cohen. And Daniel's a regular visitor to the race circuits and organising clubs around the Caribbean and North America. And Daniel held a training session during the week with the local marshals to bring them up to speed with most recent best practice. We've also have the president of NACAM here as well this weekend, Dante Peschetto. And so welcome to all of those senior officials from the FIA who are taking great interest in what is going on in this part of the world. The construction of the circuit, of course, has taken a great deal of effort and a tremendous amount of support from the government, with His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali, your president, so actively involved in the decision-making progress and also being present at the signing of memorandums of understanding and so on between the club and the organisers of the GT Challenge. And then with the help of various ministers, particularly those in the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports and Public Works, making sure that all of what has happened, and it really is quite a miraculous sight. It looks jolly professional from up here, I can tell you. So they have all been very important in making things work. Thank you very much indeed. Another bit of results. And our sponsors, once again, are mentioned through what is quite a long list, which I've decided I'm going to read backwards this time. New GP Seal in Sala, Torginol Paints, GT Automotive, London House, Total Solutions, Nabi Construction, Mohans, EL Vieira, Star Party Rental, Petron Corp, Beacon GK Inc., Prestige Imports, Secure Innovations and Concept Inc., Fullworks, Blue Springs, S&D Construction, Paul Singh, Amel Construction, DDL, Romcol, Ansa Macau, John Fernandes, Builders Lumbers Yard, Maycourt, Varden Construction, Suresh Jagmohan, C&L Construction, Excel Engineering, Dry Dock, Geico, BM Soat, Shafiq, Ashoka, Guy America Construction. Lots of these names you'll notice as they also appear on the sides of cars that are competing in front of you. Enet, Massey, Source Investments, BK, Reliance Inc., J-Parts, AJM, Thanks DIH, Palm Court, Sterling Products, Ryan Pereira. Also worth mentioning, of course, KFC, who've had a huge involvement here this weekend, and One Ocean Network. You'll see it's easy to identify a One Ocean Network container because it's always pink, and their local agency KHL, who have been responsible for shipping a number of the vehicles around the world, and Seaboard Marine is also involved with the shipping as far as the GT Challenge is concerned. And once this race meeting has happened in the early days of next week, all of the cars will be packed up, containered, and then they will be sent to Barbados for round 4 of the GT Challenge de las Americas, which is on August the 29th and 30th, if you're thinking of planning a weekend away at Bushy Park, Barbados. It's an easy flight, and it might well be worth making the trip. A reminder again that Groups 3 and Group 4 are required to start assembling at the end of the pit lane, because your first of 2 races today is scheduled to start at 12 o'clock, which is drawing ever closer. just another reminder to the competitors in Groups 3 and Group 4. We've just had a little bit of organisational stuff to get sorted, and that is now pretty much done. So Groups 3 and Group 4, please, to make your way to the end of the pit lane for your combined grid race. And it would be really clever if the Group 4 cars got to the end of the pit lane before the Group 3 cars, because otherwise the traffic jam at the back of the grid is going to take a quarter of an hour to sort out, isn't it? But I don't think anybody thought of that before I just said it, so perhaps I should have said it earlier. So Groups 3 and 4, please, to the end of the pit lane for your first race of the day here at South Dakota. What's the date? Sunday, July the 12th, a day when a bit of motorsport history was made in Guyana with the arrival of this championship from Latin and South America. Oh, he's driving the Radical in the Group 4 race then. Ah, I didn't know that. I do now. I thought he was going to be in his Evo 9. That's Christian Jeffrey I'm talking about. But he's not. He's in the Radical, which to my mind is one of the most prettiest cars in the universe. And I didn't just say that because somebody I know owns it. It's just, well, used to. It's a really lovely car. Of course, the Radical series, which Christian was very successful in, both here and he competed in the Radical series in the UK as well on a number of occasions with some success over there too. But we haven't seen quite so much of Christian Jeffrey in recent times. So we are beginning to see a fairly solid... Rob's come out with his Hoover, yeah, right, to make sure that the Radical is fully hoovered, and one of our course cars makes its way along. Now this is going to be a rolling start for this combined Group 3 and 4 race. The Group 4 cars will line up at the front of the grid, and the Group 3 cars will be at the rear, and it's going to be a sizable field, the number of which hasn't been seen. Of course, the great thing about this much longer circuit now is it's going to be a lot easier to accommodate races with much larger grids, and of course to accommodate categories like the GT cars, which can really stretch their legs, particularly along this long straight. Do we know how long the straight is? I should have asked somebody that, I think. I'll have to see if I can find out, because that would be interesting. So Christian Jeffrey in the Radical GT3 pulls out of the pit lane first. And will lead the assembled Group 2 and Group 3 and Group 4 field around. Ganeshem Gyokusun warming the tyres of his RX3. Group 3 can so Group 3 can accommodate cars, normally aspirated cars, up to 3,000. Up to 3,200 cc, and also has a number of the rotary engines in, if it's a turbocharged car or a supercharged car, not that there are many of those around these days, then it needs to be only of 2 litres, and it also includes the Mazda 12A and 13B rotary engines, which of course you can always get the numbers the wrong way round, can't you, for those? Apparently it's been known to happen in the past. Now then, so the field is on its way. Our grid marshals are referring to their sheets of paper, and we should be able to see ourselves getting into some sort of order. So it is the 2 Guy America construction Carreras, well, Porsche Carreras for Porsche 9. I give up with Porsche nomenclature. I like to just call them all 911s. It makes it so much easier. Harry Foster is the one who is on pole position. His teammate Will Martin lines up second on the grid, and third on the grid will be Calvin Ming, who is just engaging in conversation. Yes, because you're going to line them up in twos because it's going to be a rolling start. I suspect that wasn't made awfully clear before they started to come out. Oh, this is going to be fun. So Calvin needs to move over a bit. Actually, he doesn't really. They just need to get them in 2 by 2, and then it'll sort itself out behind the pace truck, won't it? So that would be the most logical thing to do, says Bradford, knowing about these things. The fourth on the grid is 1300, which is Danny Harrison in that multicoloured KTM Expo, the Jay's Supermarket car. Fifth on the grid in the blue and white J Parts Porsche is Ed Peed, and then the Radical of Christian Jeffrey slots into place behind the Expo. And there's one final car out of Group 4, which is the CAMS entry of Mohan Rangasamy in the green Mazda RX-7 number 191. Good. Right, that's sorted. Now, it looks as though we've lost some of our potential Group 3 runners, so I'm going to have to wing this a bit. The pole position, so to speak, in Group 3 is the black and blue Honda Civic of the lap record holder in that class, which is Stefan Jeffrey, second in Group 3 last year with a couple of wins, and that was only because he came out at the final meeting and won 2 of the 3 races. And then Danny Persaud's Miata is not there. Neither is Paul Rivette's red Honda Civic. Oh no, that is Danny Persaud. I beg. It looked black and blue, and I thought it was going to be the Civic, but it isn't. So that's Danny Persaud. Oh, who's just reversed into one of our start line marshals. Serves you right for walking behind a car. And then we've got Stephen Nobriger in number 221. We've got Afraz Ali in number 88. We have Denzel Hopkinson in 141, which is the low black Lotus Exige. The Lotus Exige looks very low behind the, and so are we happy that we are all where we want to be? Not sure about that, but let's right, so the grid marshals, Calvin Ming being encouraged to close his door, racing a Porsche 9. Coming out of the pit lane, a little bit late to join in. That is Stefan Jeffrey, who will have a minor advantage of having warmed up his tyres a little bit, which he can do on this lap, but then also then on the formation lap as well. So he will be coming to slot himself into his pole position. So he'll be lining up on the start of the front of the Group 3 grid. So he'll be alongside Danny Persaud. Stephen Nobriger is on his own on what will be the second row. Also on his own on what will be the third row is Afraz Ali. And Mark Samaru, another of the CAMS drivers in his red with white stripes Mazda Miata, is up at the back there. And that accounts for them all. So we have them pretty much assembled. doesn't seem to take Stephen Jeffrey quite as long as everyone else to make his way round in a Group 3 car. Comes out of the final turn now, down towards the grid, and he will be waved by the grid marshals, who are still there, down into the appropriate slot next to the So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 cars for this Group 3 and 4 race. Cars being held there perhaps a little longer than makes sense, particularly if you're sitting in one of them, beginning to roast a bit. Afraz Ali is being moved in his little white starlet. He's the current president of the CAMS organisation up there in the US of A, and also a former Group 3 champion driver a couple of years ago, back in 2023. We now have a pit crew member legging it down towards the grid. And so, are we pretty much done then? Grid marshal using the old-fashioned method of cooling down the inside of the car by opening and closing the door a lot. Thing is, you've got to make sure there's a window open on the other side, because that allows cooler air to come in while the hot air comes out. If you haven't done that, all of that waggling around with the door actually doesn't really work awfully well. Right. So, they will trundle off on a formation lap. In a moment, it says here in my script. I can't quite fathom what the delay is, but Christian Jeffrey looks as though the Radical isn't much enjoying sitting there. I don't know whether that was something to do with the car, or perhaps it was just... Right, so our grid marshals leg it off the grid rapidly, signalling, gentlemen, start your engine, which is a bit late because they've been started and getting on one. I think we're having to two, do you think, warm-up laps? 2 warm-up laps, okay. Right, so that'll give it. So 2 warm-up laps on their way. Oh dear, the Miata of Mark Samaru didn't sound very healthy as it went past us. It's trailing at the back end of the field as well. Now it looks as though it's picked up a bit of speed. Perhaps it's just missed a gear or something coming off the grid up through the kink. So they make their way as Christian Jeffrey arrives in the pit lane in the Radical. I hope this doesn't mean we're going to lose this from this race, because I was rather looking forward to seeing it in action. The 2 Guy America Porsches lead the field, followed by the Calvin Ming car. Then Danny Harrison in the, decides to start warming his tyres, but doesn't ring or text Ed Peed behind him to say, I'm about to start wiggling around the place. and so that looks a little bit exciting. And so we need an instruction from race control as to what we're going to do with Christian Jeffrey, who has now reappeared at the end of the pit lane as they come past on at the end of the first of their warming up laps. And head down through turn 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks as though we're not going to see the radical. Not sure what's happening there. Christian Jeffrey now reversed down the pit lane to the area of his pit box. So not sure what occasioned that. So waved yellows around the track to indicate that the pace car, actually pace twin cab, is just around the corner, boys. So a little bit of attention now to be paid and a bit of an effort to get into some sort of tidier formation. I have lived through so many rolling start laps waiting for people to get into a tidier formation, more than I wish to remember. And of course those at the tail end of the field need to catch up as well. The Lotus Exige of Denzel Hopkinson and Mark Samaru in the Miata are just now trickling down off the, what I'm going to call the circuit extension for now, onto the back straight. And so what we need is a bloke standing in the back of the twin cab, looking backwards, strapped on obviously, to say, and then bang the roof when those two somewhat slower cars do eventually come to join the back of the pack, which they look as though they might be about to do. Are we going to accept this as a tidy start? And yes, we are indeed. And so it is the pole-sitting Porsche which leads going down into turn 1. So Will Martin got the hop over Harry Foster, Calvin Ming tucked in behind them, then Ed Peed, then Danny Harrison already lost a couple of places. Then there's a gap back between the first until the first of the Group 3 cars, which is Danny Persaud in his blue Miata. He's got Stephen Jeffrey on his tail. Once again, we're on a 6-lap race. This is the first of those 6. And as they come through onto the back straight, briefly out of our sight behind the tents, and then back again. So the 4 Porsches indeed, just easing away a little bit, although Danny Harrison's holding on well to Ed Peed in 4th and 5th places in the KTM Expo. And as they come across the line at the end of the first lap, it is Henry Foster who has the advantage as they go down into turn 1. Henry Foster leads from Will Martin, with Calvin 3rd. Ed Peed is 4th, 5th is Danny Harrison, and then a gap back to the Group 3 battle, which is just changing the lead all the way around the outside of the right-hander. Goes side by side into the hairpin in the centre of the circuit. It's Danny Persaud being challenged by Stephen Jeffrey. Stephen got right alongside, but Danny Persaud's run very wide in the hairpin. They're side by side as they emerge. Danny Persaud closes the door very firmly and says, my Miata is better than your Civic, and he stays ahead for the moment. Nose to tail the Guy America Porsches as they come over the rise at the end of the circuit extension. Just a look at that Group 3 battle behind there. They come to the rise, that blind crest, and Stefan Jeffrey again driving all the way around the outside in the Automotive Art Civic, and Danny Bissod hadn't got anything he could do to defend that. The two Porsches coming down, the two identical Guy America cars as they cross the line at the end of the second lap, with Foster still ahead of William Martin. Calvin Ming is still third, now having to work to defend that third place a little bit from a challenging Ed P. as Danny Harrison drops back in the 8 KTM Expo and is very much on his own. The Group 3 battle now, still there's nose to tail, there's very little to choose between those two. The very evenly matched Danny Bissod. They're now, indeed everyone is going to start being a little bit careful. Lights are on now on the Porsches. We have got some inclement weather coming to South Dakota, and the two Guy America cars need to be careful, because remember they're appearing in the GT Challenge races later in the day as well. It is Stefan Jeffrey ahead in the Group 3 battle, which is also the fight for 6th place overall. And up to third in Group 3 now has come 777 Ganesh Ramdekissoon in his Mazda RX-7. So it looks perfectly dry in one direction and perfectly not dry in the other, as the order remains the same. Foster ahead of Martin and Ming, and out of the pits, having spent a brief time there, 75, Mark Samaru in the red Miata. Denzel Hopkinson wondering why he did this race, because he's just been attacked by a gaggle of Porsches. It's very damp out there through those turns, and that may well give Will Martin an opportunity to find a way past Harry Foster. They both have a lot of experience in GT cars, so the conditions dry at one end of the circuit, wet at the other. Calvin Ming still happily in third place. We've got waved yellows because there's a car off partway down the back straight, and I have a feeling that was the it's blue. I know that much. I'll work out who that is in a moment or two. I think it's not the it's not the J Parks Mazda, no, because that's still there. We've come to the end of our fourth lap, still with of the two British drivers. It's Foster holding off Martin, with Calvin Ming doing what he said he wanted to do, which was wave the flag for Guyana, having not raced since pre-COVID, and he's certainly putting on a good show in this Porsche here today. Side by side, Guy America Porsches, team personnel biting their fingernails, but they probably haven't got any left by now, as that makes it, they make their way through the centre of the circuit. We're on the penultimate lap. We're on lap 5 out of the 6. Calvin Ming and one of our Porsches has gone straight ahead, inventing a new circuit. Well, actually, that was part of South Dakota a long time ago. We are, we are lapping. We're lapping the Ganesh Ramdekissoon Mazda RX-7. I believe that I think Will Martin tucked in behind Foster, so I didn't gain any advantage. Honestly, steward persons, I didn't, honest. I'm still in second place. And so he is. That might avoid a visit to the stewards. That was very cannily done by the young Brit there. And the rain that we were seeing seems to have sorted itself out once again. And so the Porsches are back in order, and Ed Peed is getting a little bit closer to Calvin Ming. He has been edging closer, but remember these. Oh, and off goes one of the Porsches. Caught a really damp patch there. Went off back first. Once you spin a Porsche, all the weight's in the back because that's where the engine is. And once you're on this wet grass, there's not very much you can do either. And so hopefully there is no damage for that Porsche, but an unfortunate moment there in this Group 4 race. And so we come down to complete the Group 3 Diokisun RX-7's had a spin on the damp as well, but he's got himself going in the right direction. Afraz Ali passes us, just avoids being lapped, and across the line, taking the checkered flag. Our second winner of the day is Harry Foster, with Calvin Min coming through in second place. Father's frowning. Why are you frowning, Father? Second's good. Yes, it's a podium. Better than third, which it nearly was. And so Ed Peed was third in that race. Danny Harrison completing the Group 4 runners with the unfortunate off for the 911. And winning Group 3 when they eventually make their way round to us. So then a good finish for Harry Foster. Calvin Min in second place. And Stephen Jeffrey coming home fifth overall and winning Group 3 after that very entertaining early battle with Danny Persaud in his Mazda Miata. But coming through to finish. Oh, that'll be Danny Persaud over there, of course it will. I've suddenly worked out what that blue car on the back straight is. So coming through to finish second in Group B is Stephen Nobriga, with Afraz Ali third in Group B. Afraz will be pleased with that great result for him. And so a number of retirements in that race, including, unfortunately, Danny Persaud. I didn't see why he went off, but that was a very intense battle he was enjoying with Stephen Jeffrey, who eventually came out the winner of Group 3 in the Automotive Art supported black and blue Civic. So our third race of the day scheduled to come up shortly, which is the first of our two CELAC Superbike and Supersport races. I'll take a breath for a moment or two and be back with you.
you just let me be myself. Yeah, I'm lost, but I don't need your help. No, see, I don't wanna live like this, at least not forever. And I don't wanna live like this. If I go tomorrow, believe me now, I'm leaving now, I'm reaching out. All I need is love, brother. Searching for the best of me. I'm running, leaving all that's left of me. Just to get away. Just to get away. Just to get away. Just to get away. Come let me get away. And I don't wanna dream of this, at least not forever. And I don't wanna live like this. If I go tomorrow, believe me now, I'm leaving now, I'm reaching out. All I need is love, brother. Searching for the best of me. I'm running, leaving all that's left of me. Just to get away. Just to get away. Just to get away. Just to get away. Come let me get away.
The girl me up and she night and day. Girl me up and she wind down day. Girl you rock on the line right there. Now give it up 'cause she nice right there. And when she sing down there, I swing down there. Girl me up and she night and day. Now let this go, now let this go, now let this go, now let this go. Come jam up on me, girl, bring that body. Spread your sweet and me darling. 'Cause what you do I'm me balling. Whoa, what I'm feeling. See baby, I come to find. See some of that, yeah, have a good time. It's all I want, yeah. So come give me all of that, yeah. I say best believe, oh yeah. When I find it, girl, I'm not moving. How you moving, yeah. Stay with me, oh yeah. Girl, I'm hoping that I'm not too late. Have me losing it. And when to try to hold it back. Tell me, baby, do you like it like that when I rock with you? Ooh, 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 girl, let me take you to Toco Loco when the sun go low. We could go and go, girl, go. I'm talking hours and non-stop jam. You is a gem, let me take your hand, just come and go,
Boy, my wine is affection, the way I put it down. Meet you up on the dance floor, let's turn it up right now. Louder, baby, I could give it to you like a striptease. Got your view with me like a TV. My mama wants you on right now. Down, boy, the way I put it down, boy, the way I put it down, boy, the way I put it down, when nobody's around, the way I put it down, got you what you need right now, change your position right now.
When the lights go down and everyone's sleeping and there's no one around, girl, you know what I'm thinking. Whenever you finish with the clubbing, are you gonna come to the mansion? Are you gonna stop with the teasing? Baby girl, you know that I want some. I just wanna think nobody. I just wanna wind your body down. I just wanna give you something. I just wanna flex and put it down. Drop your guards, don't worry. Just wanna come wind me, I'm like it now. I just wanna wind your body. When the lights go down, wind every wine to the ground. Wind every wine to the ground. When the lights go down, bubble every bubble to the sound. Bubble every bubble to the sound. When the lights go down, love how your bump us around. Love how you
headshot and pass it till it's done. Take a headshot and pass it till it's done. Take a real shot and pass it when you're done. Take a headshot and pass it till it's done.
Yesterday I saw you right away, girl. I knew in my heart that you will love me too. Now today I am here and you are over there. You're the one that I want, girl, I swear. Girl, you took my heart by surprise. No, I'm not telling you no lie. You're the one I want to be with till I die. Girl, you took my heart by surprise. No, I'm not telling you no lie. You're the one I want to be with till I die. Yesterday I saw you right away, girl. I knew in my heart that you will love me too.
Baby, I am coming home to you. I don't wanna stay away from you. Ever since